welcome to episode 21 of Tanis Makes Stuff. I'm Tanis. I'm a knitter, general crafter and general layabout from the south coast of the UK. This is episode 21, as I said, of I think, instead of unsuccessful, I think we're going to call this the most exclusive knitting podcast on the internet with 51 subscribers. Take that, grocery girls. I only record when I've got something that I finished to show you, so it's very hit and miss. You could go a few weeks, you could go a month before hearing from me, or it could be like now, I think it's about 2 weeks, something like that. Anyway, shall we crack on? I've got some kind of all over the place things to show you today. I've got what I've been making. I'm not going to show you my temperature scarf again because I showed it to you all last year. And also I've left it over the other side of the room and I can't be bothered to stand up. Now, first of all, I finished a pair of socks. They're shorty socks because maybe I said this to you before, maybe it's just something I've said on Instagram, but I never have enough really short ankle socks. You know, like in the shops they call them trainer socks, wouldn't they? And I always get to the summer and then realise I don't have enough socks to wear, so I end up having to buy shorty socks, and then they're crap, aren't they? So I'm trying to make a bit of an effort to make more of them. So I finished a pair. These are made using Dragon Hill Studios. My socks never fit on the sock blockers properly. I must have like really massive feet. Everyone else's seems to sit really like tight and snug, and mine always like really flappy and loose. Anyway, I've worn these and washed them, so they're clean. Like, why would you care about that though? I mean, we don't have smelly vision. Anyway, here are mine. I'm using Dragon Hill Studios self-striping sock, which is my absolute favourite. I did these cuff down. And also I don't care about matchiness. I don't need them to matchy perfectly with stripes. So all my stripes are, you know, offset from each other on each sock, and the cuff's different, and I don't care because I can get quite a few pairs of socks out of that, because Dragon Hill Studios are really generous for their yardage. Anyway, off on a tangent. So I did cuff down. I started with a 1x1 twisted rib, and I did I think I only did 8 rows of the rib, and that was a mistake because it's not quite enough. And the reason I did 8 rows instead of 10 was that I got bored, so I just stopped and wanted to get on with doing the actual sock. So yeah, that was a mistake. What wasn't a mistake was doing afterthought heels. They're really good, but I did the thing of doing 4 extra rows before you start the shaping to give myself a bit more like arch, you know, a high arch rim. I'm not even sure that I've got a high arch. Maybe I have. Anyway, that worked, but what didn't work was I did too many rows in the foot, so they're a bit sloppy. And also, where I went down to, I did decreases down to 10 stitches there. I don't think I'd do that again. I think I would go to 12 because that's a little bit weirdly pointy for me. The back of my heel seems to be quite broad, because everyone seems to go down to 10 stitches, and I just don't think that's very much. And it just sort of, I don't know, sticks out in a weirdly sort of letterboxy way on the back of my foot. Do you know what I mean? Maybe you don't. Or maybe you do. Not for me to guess. And I do a rounded toe because I've got a longer middle toe. I don't have, like, you know, the wedge shape doesn't really work for me. But yeah, I like these. Quite like the colour. They're quite good for summery clothes because you've got the sort of denim-y blues, but you've also got this pink and lemon. So they kind of work with lots of things. So that's it. That's a pair of socks done, which totally justifies me recording. Now, I know all the good podcasters tell you what they're drinking, and it's always something like amazingly cute from. I mean, I do drink tea from the Magritte makes my tea. The Margate Chai Walla, which is like a little independent company. It's not that expensive, but they're really good. But that's not what I'm drinking today. No, today I am drinking absolute filth, and I don't care what you think. This is, and I know they're absolute filth, an instant cappuccino, and they are usually absolutely disgusting. But you know that I found a really nice one because I'm lazy. I quite like instant things. Yeah, I got them from Asda, so they're like £1.10 for a box of 8 of them, which shows the level of filth I'm prepared to stoop to. I really like them, and there's no one to stop me. So right, so that's it for whips. So now we can just rattle through all my rattling throughs. I've got a kind of semi whip because, well, semi-finished object, because I finished one side of my vintage drop stitch sweater jumper, not sweater, I'm not American, which is this, which is pretty lovely, isn't it? It's really nice. But now what, I've been on gauge and everything, and I'm a little bit suspicious about this because mine looks huge. Look at how huge mine is. But I guess once it's sewn up, it'll be all right once it's sewn up. So yeah, you literally do drop stitches right down to the bottom, and you do drop them to the bottom. Like on the drop stitch scarf that I did, you had a couple of rows, and then you did increases for your drop stitches, and you dropped to the increase stitch, so it went down to a point in the garter row start. The garter start was about four rows or so of that. But this one, you literally you go to the wire, which is a bit hairy. But I've done it, and the neck's quite, and as you can see, it's knit flat. It's a vintage pattern, so a lot of vintage patterns are knit flat. Next you pick up, it's such an odd construction, next you pick up stitches all along the bottom and then do the rib that way, and that will pull it in, because in each of these gaps, each of the bits where you drop stitches, you do 2 stitches. So I'm not sure it will put it in much, I'm hoping it will, but with smaller needles, so that should cinch it in a bit. But I mean, it's a top that you would wear tucked in anyway. This is not a top that I'm ever going to wear, and look, you would definitely need to wear something under it, because it'd be very nipply. I mean it would be super nipply. Anyway, it's not going to be for me, it's going to go in my Etsy shop when it's done. But I finished one side of it. I quite like that the shoulder shaping starts on the sleeve, and you just cast off stitches in the middle for the neck, and then you don't do any shaping on the neck at all. And I quite like that shape. I quite like the way that's going to look. We'll see when it's done. And if I like the style of it when it's done, I might make one for me, but in a totally different colour, because pink doesn't suit me too much. It's just I had quite a lot of that pink yarn left over from making the sports jumper, the cable sports jumper I made last year. I might have finished it early this. Anyway, that I made recently. We'll just quit recently. I haven't weighed how much yarn I've got left. So I haven't actually weighed whether I've got enough yarn to finish the damn thing. But if I haven't, well, I don't really know what I'll do. Well, I'll frog it, won't I? That's what I'll do. I'll have to frog it and start again. But more of an experiment, really. I like to, like, you know, if I'm going to start doing a new vintage pattern, what the hell is that that's on my face? I think I've got some salad stuck to my head. Might be salad dressing. So if you can see salad dressing or couscous stuck to my face, I can only apologise. Anyway, yeah, when I do pick up a new vintage pattern, I like to give it a go before I make it actually for my shop, just to see how I get on with it, because they can be quite tricksy. I won't lie about that. They're not always massively obvious. You know, like now when you buy a modern pattern, it will tell you how to do every single stitch, and you know, half the time link you to YouTube tutorials and all kinds of malarkey. But vintage patterns will say things like, right, it will show you how to do the shaping on one side, like this one. It tells you how to do the shape on one side, and then for the other side it just says, yeah, do the same shit on the other side but mirror it, and then when you do the back it just says just make another one. And they might just say to you things like making any necessary adjustments for your bust size or something like that. You know, it won't actually tell you how to do the thing. So it's quite good to give them a bit of a trial run. But I'm liking it. I think it is going to work, that one. I do quite like it. Obviously not my colour, but I think that's going to work out nicely. Here's another one that's kind of worked and not worked. This is another trial run of things from my Etsy shop. This is, I've shown you this before too. This is a keyhole scarf. So when it's finished, one end slots through the other, so that you wear it, and you wear it quite high up around your neck, and it just fills in that the little cold gappy bit in your coat. And yeah, I do appreciate it's nearly June. Yeah, obviously by the time you see this it will be June, but you know, it's always cold somewhere. So I've nearly finished it. This is not, I might keep this one for me. Well, I'm definitely not going to put this one into production. I can show you how you do you're going to have to excuse the knitting needle. So this is how it will work. Obviously this end will have another sort of long bit. It's a bit awkward because it's on the needle, so it doesn't really work necessarily well me showing you this now. Why am I doing this? Why am I making such a burk of myself? Anyway. So yeah, so if you can imagine, it goes up nice and high. I've made mine quite wide, so you can have it quite up high around your neck, and you can have like a little foldy bit. Or you can, if it's really cold, you could pull it up quite high up around the old lug holes. Anyway, you get the idea. And then on the other side, obviously, there'll be another one sticking out like that. And it just makes you like, oh, it's so toasty. It's really nice. But I made this using yarn. I said this before as well, didn't I? But this yarn is a baby yarn. It's James C. Brett Supreme Soft and Gentle Baby DK, £4.09 for 100 grams, 70% acrylic, 30% polyamide. I don't know really what the difference is between polyamide and acrylic. But I read it out because people seem to like that sort of thing. Anyway, I bought this to make a little baby jacket to donate to the knitting group I go to on Tuesday afternoon. Oh, my throat's gone all croaky. A little sip of filth, we'll sort that out. Anyway, I was going to make this like little baby jacket thing. Really nice pattern to donate to the knitting group I go to on a Tuesday. And they have like a little sort of crafty charity table where they collect things for like a premature baby unit, just a general maternity ward at a hospital. Obviously, why would, because you wouldn't have a ward on your high street, would you? Anyway, it's obviously a ward in a hospital. And you can make blankets, and they have other projects. Like we made like jumpers for lambs for a while this year. Anyway, it's all coming out swimmingly. And then I just decided I didn't like it. I was bored with it. Because to be honest, now I don't begrudge you your happiness. I mean, you know, you do you and all that. I find babies dull as ditch water. I think babies are just so boring. I'm happy for you. I don't hate babies. I'm not saying there shouldn't be babies in the world. And if it makes you happy, I'm happy for you that you're happy. I don't mind hearing about people's, you know, when people are starting a family, or, you know, there's a baby in the family or whatever. I don't mind looking at photos and stuff. I never want to meet the actual baby. I'm not good at it. I'm not cut out for it. Anyway, about 3/4 of the way through making it, I just thought, oh, this is really boring, and it's not like I'm ever gonna see the baby wearing it or anything. It's not, I don't know, I just hit a wall if I can't be asked. So I frogged it and used the yarn to make that. Now obviously, because I've frogged something small, my hair's getting on my wick so much. Because I used yarn frogged from a small project, lots of ends, lots of joins in it and stuff. So I did that as a test piece. So it doesn't matter that there's loads of breaks in it. But it's not of a standard now that I could ever sell. And I don't think I would make one using that stitch to sell, because it's too labour intensive. I know I've said this before, I can hear myself. Yeah, because that's fisherman's rib, so it takes quite a long time. I've got another pattern in mind that I'm going to do to make them to sell, which will be much easier, but that one I'm going to keep for myself, because I don't think that colour looks horrific on me. I think it's all right. I just heard the sound of my cats grappling up next the fence to next door's garden, which is a worry, because the next door neighbour, lovely lady though she is, will throw frozen peas at my cat to get her out of the garden, and I don't like it. And I'm going to control myself, but I am a person who will say something, and I don't want to say something because she's a nice old lady. But still, don't throw frozen peas at my cat, for God's sake. She's not doing any harm. I mean, apart from she might poo on your roses, but so might the foxes. And she doesn't poo in other people's gardens, and she very rarely even she doesn't even really like jumping down into other people's gardens because of other cats. She goes absolutely mental with rage, absolutely loses the plot if she sees another cat. So she tends not to jump into other people's gardens, but she does like to jump up on the fence and have a look, which apparently is not entirely welcome. Not that nobody's ever actually said anything, but I have been in the garden and frozen peas have been flying. That's all I'll say. Now, here's my other small vintage project. I had to frog a bit of this the other day, because don't knit when you're tired and it's dark and you're using dark yarn. This is I love this stitch pattern. It's so nice, but I cocked it up, and there's a very obvious right side and wrong side with this, which is much more obvious in real life than it is on camera. It's this hat, which has got this really funny back, which I really like. It's a vintage, obviously, another vintage pattern. But there was a bit where I did a jolt in the pattern repeat, and it was so super obvious. And you know, when you look at something, you kind of squint at it and try and pretend it's going to be all right, but it really wasn't going to be. So I frogged it, and I'm not much of a one for lifelines. only if I'm doing like afterthought heels, I'll put a lifeline in, but not like generally. I just think it'll be fine, and then it isn't. Anyway, this hat, yeah, it's coming on. Oh, it's coming on. See, I don't think, personally, I'm not entirely convinced that this is going to be big enough to get around my bonds. But so far, again, I'm following the pattern. The tension seems right. My gauge seems right. But it's another one of those vintage things where you have to just kind of like trust. You have to kind of just trust it and go with it. Just sort of flinging myself into it. I really like that. I'm enjoying that a lot. Let me tell you what the making up instructions are, which I keep skim reading and not really taking in properly because they seem a bit bamboozling to me. Right, so there's a little bit of blocking, iron, then using a flat seam, join seam and cast off edges, press seam, fine. And then it says, at centre front, 3 inches from lower edge on the right side of work, make a horizontal tuck 1/2 inch deep and 3/4 inch long. Make a second tuck 1.5 inches above the first. Fold over top for 1.5 inches and place in position inside second tuck. Stitch into position. I'm sure that will make sense when I've got the thing in my hand. I can kind of see it. I can kind of see the movement from that, but I could be deluding myself, which isn't an unknown occurrence in my life. That makes me sound like I feel really hard done by about something. It's not. It's just I like to convince myself that I'm right. I just like to be right. That's all. Oh, I've left my book over there. Shall we risk you seeing my backside if I stand up? Yeah. Did you see anything hideous? Did you see my seat as well? You might see my seat. I brought in a garden chair from outside to sit on. Usually I drag my favourite armchair over, but when you drag it across, it leaves like really long, draggy marks in the carpet, which are a pain in the bum to get out. But last time I did it, when the mister got home, oh, there's one bit of my hair that's not the right length. Anyway, when the mister got home, he said he looked at these marks on the carpet and he went, "Oh, you've hoovered," and he looked so pleased. And I hadn't. So and like I do hoover, I don't make a song dance about it. And when I hoover, I don't leave the carpet looking all raggedy. I just, you know, a bit like, you know, those awful people that do stripes in their lawn, the lawnmower. I don't like that. I want it to just look the same. If you're a person that puts stripes in your lawn and I've just offended you by calling you an awful person, well, I do think that's a really stupid thing to do, and we'll just have to agree to disagree and move on from that. But yeah, I don't know, why do people do that? It looks so silly. Anyway, I'm reading. I'm going to go back to knitting again in a minute. It's just, I saw my book over there and I thought, oh, book. The Memory Keeper's Daughter by Kim Edwards, which I appreciate everyone else read probably 10 years ago. But being me, yeah, 2005. This was, wow, gosh. So a fair old while ago. Not yeah, this was like quite a big hit, wasn't it, at the time? And I think I must have picked this up in a charity shop, or I might even have picked it up from a bookshare, from the state of it, from a bookshare box, probably on holiday one year. I brought it home and I've only just got around to reading it. I'm really enjoying it. I'm that much through, not a lot more to do. Gonna polish this off at the weekend. It's, if you haven't read it, it's about a woman who sort of unofficially adopts someone's child with Down syndrome. There's a doctor and his wife. She gives birth in bad weather, unexpected and a bit early, in the middle of nowhere. So they don't get to the hospital. They go to his practice and she gives birth there. And he calls the nurse, the practice nurse, she comes in and helps with the birth, and she has a son, and they don't realise, it's in the 1960s, they don't realise she's having twins. And when the daughter is born, she has, the husband recognises straight away that she has Down syndrome. So of the time and all that, he makes this decision to send the baby away straight away. Gives her to the nurse and tells her where, like, the name of an institution to take the baby to, and to leave her there. And then on impulse, he doesn't really know why he does it. Just on he fully intends to tell his wife, but he is of the opinion, and I think that probably is quite pretty true at the time. I know it was still true in the 70s, because my mum was a mental health nurse, that people were quite often advised to give up children that had any form of disability, and that they'd be better off in an institution, and that, you know, it'd be too difficult for them to keep the child at home. So he packs the baby off with this nurse. This nurse gets to the institution, and it's horrible. So she just makes this snap decision that she's going to just keep the child. He, in the meantime, has just, I think, the stress, the emotion, just before he's even really thought about it, he tells his wife that the baby died. So this poor woman spends her life thinking that one of her babies died at birth, not knowing that this girl is alive and well, living, you know, not too far away. I mean, it's America, so you can tell, can you? My knowledge of American geography is pitiful. Anyway, it's sad, but it's also really good. She manages to pass the child off as her own, because in the rush of getting the baby off to the institution and dealing with his wife, and it, you know, it's snowing and it's all stressy, he signs the birth certificate but leaves it to the nurse to fill in the details. So she obviously fills them in with her details when she decides to keep the baby. Anyway, I'm now at the point where the baby is now 16 and things are happening. It's really good. It's really good. I definitely recommend it. I've got another 3 books to show you as well. They're books that were a present. They were my birthday present from work. They didn't choose those books for me. They brought me a book. I asked for a book token, and I got one. Very pleased with it. I was too. I bought one book and I've forgotten which book it was. Oh, the dress diary of Youde. What's her flip? You know, the one about the Victorian woman. She gets given a diary as one of her wedding presents, and she keeps snippets of fabric and stuff in it. But it's all about sort of social history of clothes and fabrics. You know, like how difficult cotton is, for example. It's really good. Right then. I am also making, and I can't tell you the name of this pattern because it's on my phone and I'm recording on my phone like a chief. Anyway, I went to a local yarn store in Petersfield in Hampshire. That's probably about a 10-15 minute drive from here, but I went on the bus because I like to look at the stuff and the things as you go by. And also, I'm really crap at I can drive, but I'm really crap at it, so I just don't. Do you know, I think it's important to recognise these things. Like, when you hear these stories of people, like, fighting tooth and nail to hold on to their licence when they're in their 90s. And I just think, yeah, but... I know it's all about independence and stuff, but... Man, I just think sometimes you have to just recognise I'm really crap at this now. And I'm just not going to do it anymore. So that's a very long-winded way of telling you I went on the bus to Petersfield and went to the Sock Saturday thing at Handmade Studios in Petersfield, which is a cracking shop selling... they do use commercial yarns as well, but it's mainly indie dyed yarns from mainly, I'd say, British dyers. Quite a nice selection. They've got Ted knits there. They have some black elephant, ducky darlings, I think they have. They definitely have felt fusion. And this one. Anyway, when I do their Sock Saturday, who's this one by? That is the wrong band. Ooh, I've lost the band. I think this might be a felt fusion yarn. Anyway, I'm not sure, but when they do a Sock Saturday, they get one of their dyers, one of the dyers that they stock, they ask them to do a special. And this is the special this time. Quite nice, not quite a lot of purpley lilac-y stuff in there, which is not really my thing, but I quite like these socks. And I'm going to put it in on the screen, the name of these socks, because pattern, because I've totally forgotten, and the yarn dye's name and all that. But they give you get a pattern as well, except they're really shit at admin there. So this is the only second time I've been to it, and both times I just didn't get the pattern. All the other people there seem to have either been verbally told it before or been emailed it, and I got nothing, which is what happened last time, which is why I only went once. But because, and last time I was doing it from home, because you can do it sort of remotely as well. But yeah, luckily this time I went into the shop, so one of the other people attending was able to tell me the name of the pattern. I could just look it up on Ravelry and get it myself. But yeah, that's they are really crap at admin there. Now then, but it's a nice shop and they're nice people. Here they are. These are going to be like normal length socks, because they've got this really nice stitch pattern in. It's like a really simple lace pattern, and I think it's knitting up really nicely for, you know, for colours that I'm not that bothered by. I do actually like it. It's got quite a lot of green and blue in there as well, which colour that I do like, so that's good. So yeah, it's a fun thing, because you don't know what colour you're getting yarn. You don't know what the sock pattern's going to be. Some of us don't know that for longer than others, but anyway, you don't know what the pattern's going to be. You don't know what the yarn is going to be. You don't know who. I think they might tell you which designer they're working with. I think they do give you a little teaser of that. But it's just quite a sweet thing. You turn up and it's like 2 hours, and buses on a Saturday from here to Petersfield are crap. They're only one every hour and a half. So I got there quite a lot early. So I was able to go and have a look around the shops and go for coffee and go to Waterstones and have a really good browse there. And that's when I bought that dress diary book, and had generally a lovely time. And then we went back there again on the next day, on the Sunday, because they had their the Petersfield Spring Fair on. Hello, Lou. My little pretty cat's coming. Hello. Oh, good girl. If you're lucky, she might jump up there. You might see her. Yeah, so I was back there again on the Sunday for more coffee and cakes and stuff. And we did the thing that we always do when we go to like a farmer's market or what have you. We always buy like all the focaccia in the world. Hey, Lou. I'll pick her up and show you. Oh, she just walked over my tripod. I'll pick her up and show her to you, but she hates being picked up, so we won't do that. So yeah, that was it was fun, and because the buses are rubbish, I was going to leave a bit early. So I said to Mum, I'm going to have to dash off like 15-20 minutes early because of the buses. And then it turns out one of the other women there lives in the same town as me, so she just gave me a lift home, which was really lovely of her. Oh, now I have a sadness. I can't really show you this. I'm doing a test knit for Rachel Keener, and it's a sock pattern, and it's really good, and I can't show it to you because it's a top secret. It's a top secret one. I'm just going to show you the cuff and a little whoop. It's a colourwork sock, and it's going to be one of a set, and I'm doing mine in navy blue, and the colourwork is in gold, and green, and I've got red as well, but I can't find right now. I can't find the red. Where's the red gone? Well, the red's down. Oh, there it is. A tiny little bit of red. But I should be able to show you that next time. Actually, I need to get cracking with that. I'll be able to show you those next time, hopefully, because I think the patterns are being released mid-June. So, and if you want to do a test knit, I recommend Yarn Pond. That's where I do mine. Now, I'm not going to show you. Am I going to show you? I'm not going to show you. No, I am. This is the blanket I'm making for my knitting group, who the village hall that we use is owned by the church, and they let us have it for nothing. Well, actually, it's one of the women who organises it actually pays for the hire of it, and she goes to the church. I'm not a church goer, but she is, and she funds it herself, and she doesn't charge us anything to go. She does it just for to be nice. But they have, once a year, they have like a craft sale to raise funds, and hopefully they will raise enough money to pay for the hire of the hall for the year. I don't know if it goes anywhere near it, but hopefully it does. So I'm making a little baby blanket for that with some yarn that I was gifted by someone I used to work with, who just brought some into work one day and said, "Oh, you knit, don't you? I can't be bothered anymore," and just gave me this yarn. So I'm making a baby blanket for that. Oh, I told you last time, I decided to get rid of some of my shawls that I've made that I don't actually wear. And I've been dithering about this for a long time. Oh God, it's quite fun actually. I've been dithering about it for a long time, because what is the point? I like making them just for the sake of making them. I don't necessarily want to wear them. And they just basically sit in underbed storage in my spare room. It's not ideal, is it? So I just thought, sod it, I'm going to bite the bullet, and I'm going to take them, and I can donate them to the knitting group for their fundraising thingamajig. Another sip needed of filth. Hold on. Oh, slightly cold filth. Yeah, so I took them along, and of course they're all hand knit. They know and appreciate what that means. But I would say they're very much an acrylic group, so they don't always get independent hand dyed yarns in, in marine, like they're expensive yarns, aren't they? So I explained this to them. I had a big bag full of them. Like I gave them my wild bees wrap, I had a Fuss Free Festival shawl I gave them, my Morning Pages shawl. Oh Lord, I can't remember now what they all were. There's quite a few of them. There's about, well, it was quite a big bag I gave them. Anyway, they were really pleased with them. One of the women said, "Oh, I need something to put over my shoulders when I'm reading in bed at night, because my arms get cold." And I was like, "Oh, well, bees wrap for you." Anyway, a bit later on, the woman said to me, "Oh, I think what I'm going to do," she said, "I'm going to charge £8 for the big ones and £5 for the smaller ones." And I was like, all right, I'm not telling you, I'm not going to tell you what to do, because I've given them to you, so you charge what you like. But just so you know, like that wild bees wrap, the yarn in there, just the yarn, because I didn't use full skeins of any of the colours in there, but so the yarn in there was probably around 25-30 quid's worth. And I said, and like that one, the yarn for that one was quite a small one. Not small, but the Fuss Free Festival shawl, that was like a really quite a special yarn that I really enjoyed knitting with. But the colours, it was sparkly, which is great, and it was kind of the colours of like those fruit salad sweets, which I love, but I look like hell in. Yeah, and that was probably about £24 on its own. So I was like, okay. So anyway, and she a bit later she said to me, oh no, I've made them. She said, I've made £5 off from them already. And someone had bought the wild bees, you know, one of the organisers bought the wild bees wrap. So I was a bit like, oh, it's probably 30 hours knitting for that £5. About 26 quid's worth of yarn. Lovely. So yeah, probably a bit more than that even. So yeah, I'm going to have to just sort of like grit my teeth and let them do what they want. But yeah, it's a bit of a kick in the pants, well, punch in the guts, isn't it? When someone who doesn't really understand what indie yarns are buys and sells something, it's quite a, oh yeah. It was my choice to give them away, and you have to just get on with it. These, right, so that the yarn that I made the shorty socks from, I'm making another pair of shorty socks. I've got a lot of whips, haven't I? It's also the summer sock camp that, what's her face, Crazy Sock Lady does. So I'm like 2 rows into the lace pattern. I can't really, there's not really anything to show. These obviously are toe up socks, and these have got a wedge toe, which I just told you I don't like, but I'm doing anyway. These are the toe bean socks by Louise Tilbrook, who you might also know as Everyday Knitter. It's a really nice pattern. Her sock patterns are, I think, pretty inexpensive, and I think when I bought this she might have had a 50% off sale on her sock patterns. I think I might have only paid £3 for the pattern, which is pretty cool. But I've made bugger all progress with it, so not much point talking about those for long. Now then, ah yes, this is a jumper I'm making for the mister. Oh, I've forgotten I've done that. Oh, I finished one bit. I can't remember which is the front. Oh, I can't remember what's the right side. Oh no, that's the right side because it's got the marker on the front. So I finished the front of his jumper, smashing, and I've cast, did I cast on the back? I think I've cast on the back, so maybe he will have a jumper by this winter. And luckily this one is a dark enough colour and in a style that I like enough, where if it goes the same way as the alpaca one that I made for him, that I don't think he's worn more than once, then I can just steal it back and keep it. Because even after all these years, that still rankles with me a bit. I like a grudge. I'll quite happily hold on to a grudge. Right, that's it. That's it for the making stuff. I've got oh, I think I showed you this before, but I don't think I've done anything else on it. Yeah, no, I've not done anything else on that. That's what I should be doing today. But instead I'm titting about. Yeah, that's my embroidery design that I've not got anywhere with, because I can't really decide what to do with those 2 last little bits. And apart from that, these are the rest of my books that I bought with my gift voucher from work. Thank you very much. I bought this abroad in Japan. He's got a podcast. He's a British guy, Chris Broad, who lives, guess where? He lives in Japan. And I think he's been living there. Well, here it says 10 years in the land of the rising sun, so he's been living there for 10 years. So he's gone, I think he went as a teacher of English as a second language. And it's all of, you know, like his experiences of living in Japan. And it's the podcast is really good. It's really fascinating. Japan's one of those places that I'd really like to go to if I liked leaving the house. My second purchase is a little silly one. The world according to Karl Lagerfeld, that is, who I'm a bit obsessed with. Karl Lagerfeld, I absolutely love him. He got slated for saying like this is all just like silly little quotes of his. And he got slated a while ago for saying women that wear tracksuit bottoms have given up on life. I kind of agree with him. I can't bear tracksuit bottoms. That would be a deal breaker for me. If I was single and dating, if I found out someone even owned a pair of tracksuit bottoms, I would break that off immediately. Oh, I'm trying to find a little thing that I could. Oh, that's it. Oh, that's the thing. Jogging pants are a sign of defeat. You've lost control of your life, so you go out in jogging pants. Oh, people take it too seriously. And the last one is What Artists Wear by Charlie Porter, which I've wanted for a very long time. And it's just, I think it's fascinating that what people choose, how you present yourself with your clothes is your own, you know, small work of art, isn't it? And I think it's absolutely fascinating. I like to see, I think people always think that artists are going to be really kind of out there and wearing, like, you know, quite avant-garde stuff, but, you know, quite often they seem to be wearing jeans and a t-shirt, or not, tweed head to toe. I just like it. I just think it's really interesting. I like to see the sort of details of people's lives that are not necessarily what they're actually selling you. Do you know what I mean? Maybe not, maybe it doesn't matter. I finished French Revolutions, the Tim Moore book. The guy who's a bit of a chump who just decided he was going to cycle the Tour de France route without really knowing anything, not really knowing what the route was, not preparing. I mean, it was fun, it was quite interesting. It was too long, it did waffle on a bit, it did get quite samey, and, you know, he came across more as a bit of an annoying prat than endearing. But I would recommend it in a way. If you like cycling, you'd probably like it. When I say I like cycling, I don't mean I actually want to throw my leg over a bike and cycle anywhere. I don't like exercise. I really don't like exercise. Don't do it. And I did used to have a bike and go out for the odd ride, but I just find if I do exercise, if I do something like that, if I go out for a bike ride, I just find, like, within 2 minutes I'm thinking, why? What is the point of this? I'm not actually going anywhere. I'm just doing a loop to go back to my house again. So why did I leave the house? Don't get it at all, and I'm not doing it. And before anyone says about extending your life and being healthy and happy for longer and what have you, I'll take my chances. So I have got pretty much nothing else to say. I told you about the Stock Saturday and the Petersfield Fair. We had a car show up on the high street here. That was really good. They're trying to, like, zhuzh up my town a bit because it went into a bit of a decline, and they're doing this whole regeneration thing, and it's working. It's really good. And one of the things they've done was they had a car fair just the other weekend, and they had like 60 cars, and they had like vintage American police cars, and they had everything: hot rods, 80s rally cars, Japanese cars, British cars, classics. They even had a couple of DeLoreans there. It was fun, and it brought out a lot of people looking really happy and really enjoying themselves. And there was a really good ice cream van there, which meant I went home happy too. Me and the Mr. went. He really liked it. I think he was a bit kind of like feeling like it would be a bit like, It was on the same day as Stock Saturday, so I got dropped off in town and then messaged him, and then he walked up and met me. So it worked out really well. The cat charity shop in town that's it used to be a cat rescue charity, and now it's like a cat welfare, and they've converted half their shop into a tea room, and I went in there and had something called hummingbird cake, which I will pop a picture in if I remember. Don't know what's in it. It was delicious. Tasted a bit like carrot and walnut cake, maybe something like that, but it had really pretty like dried flowers on top and stuff. It was really lovely, and a really nice coffee too. So I should be going back there again as soon as as soon as I can be bothered to walk up town and have some spare time. And that's it really. I think next time I'm going to show you next time. Oh gosh, really good with the old bookshare box. Every book that I've put in the bookshare box that I pass on my way to town, all of my books have been taken, and that is oddly satisfying. And they haven't come back in there yet either, because some people read them and put them back in, and most people I think just take a book and read it and then just pass it on however you would normally. But yeah, I find that very satisfying when I finish a book and put it in that box and then someone else takes it. Sometimes it's gone within the hour. It's amazing. Like I'll walk into town, drop off a book, and then on my way back again, someone else has already picked it up, which just makes me feel like I've got amazing taste in books, which I'm sure is true. Oh, I also read a book about auras, like that's supposed to teach you how to see people's auras. And next time I'm going to show you, because I've forgotten to bring it downstairs, I've got a colouring sheet that's like shelves of a bookcase, and then you colour in a book every time you read a book, and it's got I think my one's got 100 books on it, and I only read about 50 books a year, but the choices were 20 bookshelves with 20 books on, or bookshelves with 100, so I went for the 100 one. And I think next year I'm just colouring it in like literally as I go, but I think next year, I'm already thinking next year, I'm going to split it by genre. So I'll have one shelf for like mysteries and thrillers, I'll have one for classics, I'll have one for romance, humorous romancy type things, and you know, whatever, dystopian nightmares, that kind of stuff. I thought I was pretty pleased with myself with that. I thought that was a really good idea, and I wish I'd had that idea at the start of the year, but I didn't. And that, God, I do always end on a bum note, don't I? I'd like to do that, but I didn't. Anyway, I think that's enough waffle for me, and I'm going to love you and leave you. I hope you all have a lovely finish to May. I'm going to spend tomorrow in the garden. There's a magic thing that happens though. If I put a pair of shorts on, the sun goes in. Yesterday I came in, it was really sunny, I was sitting outside reading my book, and I came in to put my shorts on and it chucked it down with rain immediately, and then just didn't stop raining all day. And now today I put shorts on, went outside, and it's like gale force winds. It's my shorts. It's because I've got terrible legs. I think the nature is telling me not to wear shorts. I think that's definitely it. Right, I'm definitely going. Trial.